Hi guys, Sammy STFU here, and basically I want to talk about Cinderella. Yes, the reboot is out, and it seems like there's a lot of mixed reviews. People like it, some hate it, some feel like it's an insult. For me, I haven't seen it yet. And truth be told, I'm gonna basically wait for it to go on Redbox. I know a lot of you guys are thinking, that's a waste of your time. As far as you know, it could probably be out in like a year. Well, don't count it. I figured probably 3 months tops it'll be out on DVD. Well, I haven't seen it yet, like I said, but from what I'm hearing, it's basically almost exactly made from the animated series of Disney, except they decide to add some logic. Of course, one thing that everyone seems to be ticked off about is how they do compare about the stepsisters. It's true that in the animated series, we do not, in the end of Cinderella, we don't get to see the stepsisters get their comeuppance. Instead, we get the stepmother's shock of realizing that, oh my god, Cinderella is no longer under her care. And it's not until Cinderella 2 that we see that the stepmother and the daughters, they somewhat are doing okay. But it's not until Cinderella 3, A Twist of Time, basically 1 year after the event, which kind of sucked, we see that the family is suffering and that the stepsisters are stuck doing the chores and that the stepmother is just doing nothing. Of course, I do want to point out one thing that Disney did bring out, and it was basically not in the form of a movie, but a storybook. Back in the 1980s, Walt Disney Company brought out a book series called Fun to Read Library, and there was another one called Fun to Learn. Fun to Learn was basically a volume book series of 1 to 19. These were simple things, to read to your kids so they can get knowledge. It talked about science, numbers, English. Heck, they even had a dictionary. But the one I'm kind of talking about is Fun to Read. These were short stories. And Volume 6 was my ultimate favorite because it was called Cinderella's Ugly Stepsisters. This is somewhat of almost a semi-sequel to the end of Cinderella's story. And this is very interesting because, let me explain what happens. Even though Cinderella just was treated like a servant most of her life, she still basically wants to mend the fence between her stepfamily. So she invites them to stay over in the castle for a while. And Cinderella is nice enough, even though her stepmother and her step-siblings are still being a jerk to her, she thinks of a good idea. She thinks, well, even though I have my happy ever after, doesn't mean Drizella and Cristela, I can't get the names right, that they can't get the happily ever after. So, she announces she's going to throw a ball, but really, it's a secret way for her sisters to get hooked up. Of course, her step family ain't thrilled. Heck, they think Cinderella is just trying to show off her extravagant lifestyle. So, once Cinderella basically, has a ball all made, she basically gives the servants the day off, which has the stepsisters and Lucifer destroying the ball. They rip the whole place apart. Of course, when Cinderella comes in with the mice, they see the destruction. And of course, Cinderella, being who she is, she decides, you know what, I'm gonna clean this place up, I'm gonna fix it, and the mice help out. And of course, probably about an hour or two before the ball begins, it's all fixed up, the food's made, the ballroom looks better than ever, and the step-siblings and the stepmother is not happy. So the stepsisters decide they gotta do something about it. So when Cinderella does come in, she's like, how are you guys feeling? They basically go, oh yeah, we're just fine. And she's like, well, she's being polite. She's like, maybe you can do me a favor, and maybe you guys can put on your best outfits. Maybe you can meet someone there. She hints it, basically, she's not saying, oh, not getting rid of you guys. She's just saying, just come as you are, put on something nice, and have a good time. This gives the evil stepsisters the idea. They dress, I kid you not, what looks like a ripoff from Jim and the Holograms. No, I kid you not. They look like misfit rejects in that time period. And what happens is, at the ball, there are a lot of eligible gentlemen, the dukes and the princes and kings from other kingdoms, available men coming to the ball, and they're talking about Cinderella and her family. In fact, these two guys who are basically, I kid you not, look like siblings, they're talking about Cinderella. They're like, well, if Cinderella is beautiful, her sisters must be marvelous. They must be wonderful. We can't wait to meet them. And of course, when they come down from the steps, everyone's shocked, even Cinderella. The stepmother is shocked. She's like at first, the stepmother has no idea how Adele's going to dress up as. So when the guest comes in, and the stepmother is shocked, she basically assumed, oh, the whole kingdom's coming. No, we have suitors coming in to meet the stepsisters. And of course, when all the suitors see the stepsisters, they politely turn to Cinderella and Prince Charming, and they said, well, it's nice to meet you, we gotta go, bye, and they leave. And when the stepsister asks what's going on, Cinderella then tells them, and they get upset. And the book ends. As far as I know, that is when they get the comeuppance. Why? Well, to me, I feel like it's the just desserts. Because, number one, even though in the movie it doesn't show the punishment, in the original storybook, the stepsisters basically mutilate their own feet just so they can marry the prince. And they suffered because one sibling loses her toes, the other sibling has her heel cut off just so she can fit into the slipper. And they can't walk into the slippers. They can't even walk now because, I kid you not, that the mother said, once you get married, your servants will carry you, and you don't have to worry about walking again. In the movie itself, you don't exactly get to see it. So, basically Disney does prove that answer of what happens to the step siblings. Even though Drizella in the second movie ends up hooking up with the baker, and at the end of the third movie we see Drizella and Lady Tremaine get turned into geese, I still feel like, they did not get the comeuppance right. This book proves it. And for those who basically want to find the book, I have to say it's kind of hard to find. I am basically ordering my series, volumes 1 through 14, on eBay. And it's not cheap. Basically, trying to find them in good condition is very, very expensive. The ones that I kind of wanted to get was worth over $200. $200, and they're in good condition. Like, so good that it's like they've never been opened. And I talked to the guy, and so it's kind of tough. But for me, I'm gonna just get the one that I'm getting and be happy. So for those who are basically interested in getting Volume 6 of Disney's ready-to-read Cinderella's Ugly Sisters, good luck in buying it. But otherwise, if you guys do get it, read it. Heck, maybe once I get it in the mail, I will basically read it out, or basically record it, post it up on Facebook. Who knows?